The cargo bay of Starshelter Station hummed with the voices of 1,000 species, but Marcus Webb heard only silence. He'd lost his ship 3 weeks ago and with it, his purpose. Now he hauled crates for whoever would pay, trying to scrape together enough credits to eat. The station was massive, a spinning wheel of metal and hope where 7 civilizations met to trade. Humans were still newcomers here, barely trusted, always watched. Marcus didn't mind. He kept his head down and did his work. It was on a Tuesday, or what humans call Tuesday, that everything changed. Marcus took a shortcut through the refuse district, a place where broken things and broken beings ended up. The smell hit him first, then the sound. A low, pained whimper echoed between the trash compactors. He found the dragon wedged between 2 dumpsters, barely conscious. Its scales were dull gray, not the brilliant colors Marcus had seen in the station's upper levels. Blood matted the creature's side, and its breathing came in shallow gasps. Marcus had seen dragons before. They were magnificent beings, respected throughout the galaxy as scholars and guardians. But this one looked young and utterly alone. "Hey there," Marcus whispered, kneeling slowly. The dragon's eye opened, golden and afraid. "I'm not going to hurt you." A Velcarian merchant passed by, his 4 arms loaded with packages. He saw Marcus and hissed in warning. "Human, step away from that thing. It is marked. Cursed." "He's injured," Marcus said. "It killed 17 beings 6 months ago. The council declared it contaminated. You touch it, you share its fate." The merchant hurried away, his footsteps echoing in the narrow alley. Marcus looked back at the dragon. The creature tried to speak, but only a broken rasp emerged. Its throat was scarred, damaged beyond repair. Whatever this dragon wanted to say, it couldn't. Marcus made a decision he couldn't explain even to himself. He pulled out his lunch, a protein bar and a bottle of water, and offered them to the dragon. The creature stared at the food like it was a trap. "Go on," Marcus urged. "I've got more back at my place." "Well, I don't, but I'll figure something out." The dragon ate slowly, carefully, as if expecting Marcus to snatch the food away. When it finished, it tried again to speak. This time, Marcus saw the frustration in its eyes, the desperate need to communicate. "You can't talk, can you?" Marcus asked gently. The dragon shook its head, a very human gesture that made Marcus's heart ache. Before he could say more, 2 station security guards materialized at the alley's entrance. They wore the purple insignia of the Galactic Council, and their weapons were already drawn. "Step away from the condemned, human," the lead guard commanded. "You are in violation of Harmony Protocol 7. "I'm just helping an injured." "That creature is not to be aided or comforted. It has been judged. You will come with us." Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. He'd seen injustice before, but this felt different. The dragon hadn't attacked him. Could barely move. Whatever it had done, it couldn't defend itself now. "I invoke right of compassionate adoption," Marcus said suddenly. The words came from a legal database he'd memorized during his pilot training. "It's human law, recognized under the Cultural Integration Treaty." The guards paused. The lead guard tapped his communication device. After a long moment, he spoke again. "The council will allow it. But you become legally responsible for all actions of the condemned. Any harm it causes, any law it breaks, falls on you." "Fine," Marcus said, surprising himself. "I'll take that risk." The guards left, muttering about foolish humans. Marcus helped the dragon stand, supporting its weight against his shoulder. The creature looked at him with those golden eyes, and Marcus saw something he recognized: hope, fragile and desperate. "My name's Marcus," he said. "You need one too. How about Ash? You look like Ash, kind of gray and forgotten. But Ash can start new fires, right?" The dragon, Ash, nodded slowly. Together, they limped toward Marcus's quarters, while hundreds of eyes watched from the shadows, judging them both. Marcus's quarters were barely large enough for one person, let alone a dragon. Ash curled in the corner, trying to make himself smaller, while Marcus cleared space on the floor. The dragon hadn't moved much in 2 days, eating only when Marcus insisted. The hatred started immediately. Their neighbors filed complaints within hours. The building manager, a 6-legged Rethian, appeared at Marcus's door every morning with a new petition demanding their removal. Marcus ignored them all. Work disappeared next. The dock supervisor called Marcus to his office on the 3rd day. "We can't have you here anymore," he said, not meeting Marcus's eyes. "The other workers refuse to be near that thing you brought." "His name is Ash," Marcus said quietly. "I don't care what you call it. You're done here." The supervisor handed Marcus his final payment, short by 2 weeks. Consider yourself lucky we're paying you at all. Marcus walked back to his quarters in the dark, calculating how long their credits would last. Not long. Maybe 2 weeks if they rationed carefully. He found Ash awake, staring at the wall. The dragon's eyes held something Marcus had seen in mirrors after his ship was taken. The look of someone who'd given up. "Hey," Marcus said, sitting beside Ash. "I've got an idea. You can't talk with your voice, but humans have other ways." He pulled up a datapad showing sign language symbols. "We use our hands. Maybe you could learn?" Ash looked at the screen, then at his own clawed hands. Slowly, carefully, he mimicked the sign for thank you that Marcus demonstrated. His movements were clumsy but deliberate. Marcus grinned. "That's it. We'll start simple and work up from there." Over the next week they developed a routine. Marcus taught signs while Ash absorbed everything with startling speed. The dragon learned faster than any student Marcus had ever heard of, remembering every gesture perfectly after seeing it once. But the outside world grew more hostile. Someone spray-painted "Monster Lover" on their door. Station residents crossed to the other side of corridors when they approached. Children threw rocks when Marcus went for food supplies, shouting words their parents had taught them. The worst came on a rainy cycle afternoon. Marcus and Ash were in the station's lower market, buying the cheapest food they could find. A young Valkyrian, wearing expensive clothing, stepped directly into their path. "My father says your kind shouldn't exist," the Valkyrian said to Ash. "Dragons are supposed to be noble. You're just broken." "Leave him alone," Marcus warned. "Or what, human? You'll protect it?" The Valkyrian's friends circled behind them. "Everyone knows what it did. 17 dead because it couldn't control itself." Ash signed rapidly to Marcus. "Please go. This is my fault." "Not happening," Marcus signed back. The Valkyrian struck without warning, a blade flashing toward Ash's face. Marcus threw himself forward, taking the cut across his shoulder. He felt the burning pain, saw his own blood, then felt someone's fist connect with his jaw. He woke in the station's medical bay 3 hours later. Ash sat beside his bed, head lowered in shame. A security officer stood at the door. "The Galactic Council has issued a final warning," the officer said. "One more incident involving either of you, and you'll both be exiled to Penal Colony 7. They don't care who started it. Understand?" Marcus nodded, his shoulder throbbing. The officer left and Ash finally looked up. His claws moved in careful signs. "I am sorry. You are hurt because of me. Everyone was right to hate me." "No," Marcus signed back firmly. "They're wrong. All of them." That night, unable to sleep from the pain, Marcus watched Ash studying schematics on the datapad, engineering files Marcus had downloaded for his own failed ship repairs. The dragon's eyes moved across the complex diagrams with perfect understanding. "You understand that?" Marcus asked. Ash nodded, then signed, "I see patterns. Always have. Energy flows, system connections. I remember everything I see." Marcus sat up, ignoring his injury's protest. An idea was forming, dangerous and desperate. "Ash, could you fix a broken engine? My old ship's engine?" Ash studied the schematic Marcus pulled up, then signed, "Yes. Easy. Wrong connection here." He pointed to a junction that 3 mechanics had missed. Marcus's heart raced. Maybe they weren't as helpless as everyone thought. The impound yard smelled of rust and broken dreams. Marcus talked their way past the guard with his last few credits, claiming he needed to retrieve personal items. Ash followed silently, keeping his head low. Marcus's old ship sat in the corner, covered in dust and failure notices. The engine had died 6 months ago, the same week as the incident that destroyed Ash's life. 3 mechanics had declared it unsalvageable. "There she is," Marcus said sadly. "The Wanderer. She was everything to me." Ash approached the engine carefully, his golden eyes scanning every wire and connection. His claws moved over the components without touching them, tracing invisible paths only he could see. Then he reached in and shifted a single relay connector. The engine hummed to life. Marcus stared in disbelief. "How did you?" Ash signed quickly. The energy pattern was blocked. "Simple fix. But I see something else." He pointed to scorch marks inside the engine housing. "This damage is not from normal failure. Someone did this on purpose." A cold feeling settled in Marcus's stomach. Why would someone sabotage my ship? Ash's claws trembled as he signed, "Same marks as on station reactor. Same pattern from 6 months ago. The incident they blame me for." Before Marcus could respond, a voice cut through the yard. "Interesting observation, Dragon. A woman stepped from behind another ship, her gray hair pulled back severely. She wore a scientist's badge, Dr. Yenna Cross, according to the nameplate. "I've been reviewing the incident reports," she said. "The official story has holes big enough to fly a cruiser through. I saw you two at the market. Saw what happened. Made me curious." She pulled out a data tablet. "The reactor malfunction killed 17 people. The investigation took 4 hours, and they blamed a dragon who couldn't speak to defend himself. Convenient. You think someone set him up?" Marcus asked. "I think someone needed a scapegoat. The question is why." Dr. Cross looked at Ash. "Can you show me what you saw that day?" Ash's claws moved hesitantly, signing his story. He'd been studying the station's lower engineering levels, fascinated by the energy systems. He'd noticed unusual power fluctuations in the reactor, patterns that didn't match normal operations. When he went to investigate, he found 2 people tampering with the core systems. He tried to warn them, but his voice wouldn't work. He tried to stop them physically, but they activated something that caused the cascade. The explosion threw him clear, damaged his throat further, and left him unable to tell anyone what he'd seen. "Did you recognize them?" Dr. Cross asked. Ash nodded and signed, "Syndral uniforms. Corporate security." "Syndral Consortium," Dr. Cross breathed. "They've been trying to take control of Starshelter's trade routes for years. If they could destabilize the station, force a council vote." A sound made them all freeze. Footsteps, multiple sets, approaching fast. Marcus grabbed Ash and pulled him behind the ship. Dr. Cross followed, her face pale. 4 armed mercenaries entered the yard, scanning with weapons drawn. "The dragon was seen entering this sector," one said into a communicator. "Orders are to eliminate it and anyone with it." Marcus's heart pounded. They were trapped, outgunned, and the guards wouldn't help them. But Ash's eyes had changed, focusing on something Marcus couldn't see. The dragon moved before Marcus could stop him. Ash's claws touched the yard's power junction box. Suddenly, every ship alarm activated at once, lights blazing, sirens screaming. The mercenaries spun in confusion. "Run!" Dr. Cross shouted. They sprinted through the chaos, Ash somehow keeping the power systems fluctuating wildly behind them. They made it to an access tunnel and collapsed inside, breathing hard. "That was impossible," Dr. Cross gasped. "No one can manipulate station power directly like that." Ash signed slowly, "I told you. I see energy patterns. I can change them." Marcus saw the fear flash across Dr. Cross's face, and he understood. Ash wasn't just innocent. He was powerful in ways the galaxy didn't understand. That made him dangerous to some people and a threat to others. "We need proof," Marcus said. "Real evidence that Syndral caused the incident. Otherwise, no one will believe us." Dr. Cross nodded grimly. "The data archives. But they're in the most restricted section of the station. We'd need help." "Then let's find it," Marcus said, looking at Ash. "We're not running anymore." The data archives were guarded by security systems that would alert the council within seconds of any breach. But they had an unexpected ally. Dazar, a young Velkarian engineer, met them at the archive entrance in the middle of the station's sleep cycle. "My cousin was the one who attacked you," Dazar said quietly, shame in his voice. "My family taught us to hate without questioning why. I want to make that right." Together they slipped past the outer defenses. Ash guided them through the sensor grids, seeing the energy patterns and showing them where to step. Inside, Dr. Cross accessed the sealed files from the incident. "Look at this," she whispered, pulling up surveillance footage. "These files were marked corrupted, but I can restore them." The video showed Ash entering the reactor room 6 months ago. It showed him discovering 2 Syndral employees installing a device on the core systems. It showed him trying to communicate, his voice already damaged from an earlier accident. It showed him attempting to remove the device and the men attacking him. Then the explosion. "He tried to stop it," Marcus said, his voice tight. "He was trying to save people." "We need to get this to the council," Dr. Cross said, copying the files. The lights went out. Emergency systems kicked in, bathing everything in red. An alarm screamed through the station. Marcus's communicator buzzed with a station-wide alert. "Critical reactor failure in progress. All personnel evacuate immediately." "No," Dr. Cross breathed, checking her scanner. "This is the same cascade pattern from before. Syndral is doing it again, but bigger. Much bigger." Marcus's blood ran cold. "How long? At this rate? The entire station will explode in 30 minutes. Millions will die." They ran toward the central command, but screens throughout the station were already showing emergency broadcasts. A Syndral spokesperson appeared, his face grave with false concern. "The condemned dragon has struck again," he announced. "Witnesses report seeing the creature near the reactor systems. The council must act now to prevent further tragedy." "They're framing him again," Marcus shouted. Within minutes, council guards found them. The lead guard's weapon was trained on Ash. "By emergency order, the dragon is to be executed immediately." Marcus stepped between them and Ash. His hands were shaking but his voice was steady. "You'll have to go through me. That's what adoption means. Where he goes, I go." "Marcus, no," Dr. Cross started. "I can stop it," Ash signed desperately. "The reactor. I can fix the energy pattern. But the radiation levels." Dr. Cross checked her scanner and went pale. "It's lethal. Even with protective gear, anyone who enters that core will die within hours." Ash's claws moved with careful precision. "I am already condemned. At least this death will mean something. At least I can save them." "No," Marcus signed back fiercely. "We find another way." "There is no other way," Ash signed. "You gave me weeks of kindness when the galaxy gave me only hate. You saw me when everyone else saw a monster. Let me do this. Let me prove they were wrong about me." The station shuddered. Systems were failing faster. On every screen across the galaxy, billions watched Starshelter's final moments being broadcast. They watched a human standing between guards and a dragon. They watched the dragon signing something that made the human's face crumble. Marcus pulled Ash close, pressing his forehead against the dragon's scaled snout. "Thank you," he whispered, "for letting me know you." Ash signed one last message, "Thank you for seeing me." The dragon moved before anyone could stop him, his body becoming a blur as he raced toward the reactor core. The radiation alarm screamed. Marcus tried to follow but the guards held him back. On screens across the galaxy they watched Ash enter the deadly chamber. They watched him place his claws on the reactor systems, his body glowing as he manipulated energy patterns no other being could see. They watched him redirect power flows, untangle the sabotage and save millions of lives. They watched him collapse. Marcus broke free from the guards and ran into the core. The radiation burned his skin but he didn't care. He reached Ash and lifted the dragon's head. "Stay with me," Marcus begged. "Please." The lights came back on across Starshelter. The station was saved. But Marcus and Ash lay motionless in the reactor core, and the galaxy watched in silence. Marcus woke to white light and the steady beep of medical equipment. His skin felt like fire and every breath hurt. But he was alive. "Ash," he croaked, trying to sit up. A gentle hand pushed him back down. Dr. Cross stood beside his bed, her eyes red from crying or exhaustion or both. "He's alive. Barely. His dragon physiology is healing the radiation damage but it's slow. You're both incredibly lucky. I need to see him. You can't walk yet. But he's been asking for you too. In his own way." She held up a datapad showing a message in sign language symbols. "Is Father safe?" Marcus's throat tightened. Father. Ash had called him father. 3 days passed before Marcus could walk. The station's hallways were different now. People stopped and stared but not with hatred. Some nodded respectfully. Others simply watched in silence. The Galactic Council called an emergency session on the 5th day. Marcus was wheeled in, still too weak to stand for long. Ash limped beside him, his scales dull but his eyes clear. The council chambers were packed. Representatives from all 7 civilizations were present, and billions more watched across the galaxy. The evidence of Syndral's conspiracy had spread everywhere. The corporation's executives were already in custody. The head counselor, an ancient being whose species Marcus didn't recognize, spoke first. "We have judged poorly. We condemned an innocent being because he could not speak, and we nearly allowed history to repeat itself. The dragon called Ashkareth is pardoned of all charges. More than that, we honor him as a savior of Starshelter." The chamber erupted in a sound Marcus had never heard before, thousands of different species, all making their version of applause. But it was what the counselor said next that shocked everyone. "And we have learned something from humanity." Marcus Webb invoked a law we considered primitive, the right to claim family beyond blood. But this human showed us that family is not about species or tradition. It is about choice. About standing beside someone when the galaxy stands against them. Ash's voice, still rough and painful, spoke for the first time since the incident. "Father chose me when no one else would. I choose him. Always." The word father rippled through the chamber. Dragons didn't have parents in that sense. They were hatched in groups raised by the collective. For a dragon to claim a parent was unheard of. But across the galaxy, others heard that word and understood. The unwanted, the outcasts, the ones judged and condemned by their own people. They heard it and felt something shift inside them. Within weeks, Marcus and Ash received thousands of messages. A Rethian born without the proper number of legs. A Valkyrian who couldn't speak their native language. A human child abandoned on a colony world. All of them asking the same question: what does adoption mean? Marcus and Ash started small. They opened a consulting business, using Ash's gift to solve engineering problems that stumped others. The credits they earned went toward a larger ship. Then another. Soon they had a small fleet. But their real work was different. They found the rejected ones, the beings that society had given up on. They offered them a choice: stay alone or join a new kind of family. 2 years after the incident, Marcus stood on the bridge of their flagship, watching dozens of ships jump to hyperspace in formation. Each ship carried a crew of misfits and outcasts, beings from different species who'd chosen each other. Ash stood beside him, his scales now showing hints of color, not the traditional dragon colors but something new. Silver and gold mixed with the gray, unique and beautiful. Do you ever regret it? Marcus asked. That day in the alley when I found you? Ash's voice was stronger now, though still scarred. Every being I save, every outcast who finds family, every person who learns that being different is not being broken. That is my answer. You saw me when I was invisible. Now we help others be seen. A young alien approached them nervously, newly rescued from a station where their own kind had rejected them. Can you teach me what adoption means? Marcus and Ash exchanged a look, the kind of silent communication that only family shares. It means family isn't who you're born to, Ash said gently. It's who chooses to stand beside you. And we're always hiring, Marcus added with a smile. The young alien's face brightened with hope, and Marcus remembered that feeling, the moment someone first chose him too. He'd been alone on Starshelter, lost and purposeless. Then he found a broken dragon in an alley and discovered that saving someone else had saved him too. The ships jumped to hyperspace together, carrying their message across the stars. No one is beyond saving and everyone deserves to be seen.